has everything you need and nothing you don't. A beautifully sublime, three-spoke, thin-rimmed, analog, hydraulic power steering. It's naturally aspirated, so you have to build to a crescendo. You are a conductor in an orchestra, and you have to build it to its absolute climax. 5-speed manual get-drag gearbox sending power to the rear wheels. 50-50 weight distribution, no nanny electronics, just you, your right foot, your limbs, and the rest of your faculty. In this car, you're in charge. Man, they don't build them like they used to. Wait, what's that? That is the brand new 2023 BMW M2. And this is my 1992 E36 BMW 325i. And this is here because we want to find out if BMW has truly made an old school driver's car in the brand new M2. Okay, let's talk design 3 decades apart. The E36 is classic BMW design. Short overhangs, clean lines, there is not one crease that I would change on that car. Modern BMW designs, however, well, they're a little more questionable. I'm looking at you, current generation M3 and M4. The M2, however, has scaled it down a notch. You've got actually pretty elegant BMW kidney grills, albeit frameless in this case. The other thing that I notice, if you look at the front, is that you've got these big, massive air intakes with no protection for the radiators. So maybe that's something to consider on our roads. But on the whole, I think the M2 looks really, really good. And what looks really good is that it's stout, it's broad, it's hunkered down. It looks like a terrier that's just itching to leap forward. And I love these wheel arches. It's got these really nice, curvaceous wheel arches and these haunches. Oh my God. This is automotive porn right here. Anything with haunches like this has to look absolutely fantastic. Let's talk engines 30 years apart. This is a 2.5 liter straight 6 naturally aspirated motor that produces in the neighborhood of about 175 horsepower. I've got headers and exhaust, so I'm hoping it's a little bit more than that. Although 30 years on, who knows? But just look at the size of that motor. This is a big hunk of metal. The M2, however, is an absolutely different ball game altogether. 3 liters, inline 6, twin turbos, producing 460 horsepower and 550 Nm. This is where the new car blows the old one into the weeds. And don't miss another thing. Look at the bracing that's under the hood of this car. It's as if the engine has so much power, it wants to leap out and just take off all on its own. But that's not why the bracing is there. The bracing is there for chassis stiffness and for handling, to make sure that the M2 is sharp enough and rigid enough and has a structure that's capable of putting all that power down to the road. And that's another area in which the new car absolutely blows the old one into the weeds. And I finally find myself in the driver's seat of the brand new M2. And the first thing I notice is this strange stick sticking out of the center console. It's got numbers on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe we'll get more familiar with that as we get on the move. But first impressions are that this is a really high quality cabin. And where it really takes a step up from the previous generation M2 is in the cabin of this car, because everything is just absolutely top quality. The materials are top notch, the comfort is top notch, and everything is just as you would expect in a brand new M car. You've got these M Sport seats with the M stitching, you've got the M colors even on the seat belt, you've got M2 which is backlit on the backrest, you've got this beautiful 3-spoke steering wheel, I've got carbon fiber absolutely everywhere. These M colors on the doors which light up at night and look absolutely fantastic. And then the piece de resistance, the M1 and M2 buttons on the steering wheel. Again new for this edition of the M2. And these are the buttons that take you to your happy place. Allow me to demonstrate. So the driver sits facing this absolutely beautiful BMW curved display and the latest iDrive system. I've got a 12.3-inch instrument cluster in front of me and a 14.9-inch infotainment screen, all of which blends together perfectly in this new configuration. As you can see, I've also got the setup screen, which allows me to configure everything from engine, chassis, steering, even brake feel between comfort and sport, and a 10-stage M traction control system. So depending on how fleet-footed you are or how heavy your light foot is, you can set the M traction control up between 0 and 10. The M1 and M2 buttons allow you basically to set your favorites. So if you want to go from comfort to absolute red hot smoking, everything on Sport Plus, traction control turned off, you can do that at the press of a button. This is a car that is focused on the driving experience. I've got a G meter in front of me, a drift mode analyzer, and all kinds of stuff that I haven't even begun to explore as yet. All I can say is that this is a beautiful place to be. It's luxurious, it's comfortable, it feels really good, but most of all, it feels focused on the driving experience. So technically, this is a 4-seater, but only for really close friends and family, because I'm reasonably vertically challenged at 5'8" and some, and even my head is hitting the headliner because of the rather sloping and svelte roofline. So maybe kids might be a little more comfortable, but 2 adults, probably not gonna happen. So one little party trick to wake up the neighbors. I'm in Sport Plus, and I've got M sound control off. This is what it sounds like. Sporty, but sedate at the same time. If I turn M sound control on, much more deep-throated. Now you can wake up the neighbors. From the underground. Previous generation M2 was really playful. It was small and compact, and it shrunk around you. The front end was really immediate and chuckable. This one feels a little bit more grown up. It feels a little bit more like the M3 and the M4. It's only about 150 kilos lighter than both those cars. It's basically got all the same underpinnings. The engine is detuned slightly, but it's just ridiculously fast. The front subframe, the rear subframe, the suspension, the chassis setup, it's all pretty much in line with the M3 and the M4. And Jesus Christ, this does not feel like a baby M car. It feels like a full-blooded M car. Open roads, full throttle, ridiculously fast machine, incredibly good dynamics, really well behaved. I could do this all day. Whoa! Oh my dear Lord. And it allows you to get sideways. It's got 285 section, 20-inch rear tires, and 275 section 19-inch front wheels and tires, and they're Pirelli P0s, but believe me, if you put the power down, you can get it sideways. But with it in MDM mode with 10 stages of traction control, it's just perfectly controlled. It's just, the speed is so accessible. The chassis is not snappy, but it's responsive. It's just everything that you can ask for. Jesus Christ, the way it pulls out of roundabouts, it's absolutely stupendous. And the level of engagement that you get with a manual transmission is just something that you cannot match with an automatic. Sure, the automatic will be faster, the gearing will be tighter, it'll be easier, especially when you're on a racetrack. But I mean, I would compromise all of that for the engagement that I'm getting with this manual gearbox. I'm using all my limbs, all my faculties. I'm involved in the driving experience. What more could I possibly ask for in a proper M car? I mean, if I had a complaint, the only thing would be is that it's so fast and it's got so much grip that to really exploit its potential, you would need to drive it on a racetrack. And if you own this car, you bloody well better drive it on a racetrack. But for me, the thing that I was most pleasantly surprised by was the everyday livability, usability, and practicality of this machine. Sure, you can't fit 2 adults in the back, but short of that, this is absolutely an everyday M car that you can use on our roads. Oh my dear Lord! Look, Ma, I'm driving a manual transmission. Look, Ma, I'm driving a manual transmission. And this time, it's in India. And this time, if I win the lottery, I can buy one. Oof. So I think we've clearly established that I'm a die-hard BMW fanboy. The M2 is a car that I personally have really been looking forward to. I've been dying to drive this brand new generation M2. The previous Gen M2 was one of the nicest cars that I've driven in the last couple of years. The fact that BMW is bringing one into India with a manual transmission, I think is everything that any enthusiast could ask for. We've already said that this could well be the last of the line rear-wheel drive, internal combustion engine, manual transmission, stupendous power, sports sedan, sports car, call it what you want. The beauty of this car is that it's usable, it's practical, it works in our conditions, and it is ridiculously fast. Will cars get faster over time? Of course they will. Will they get more involving than this over time? I'm not so sure. Do I wish this was a little more involving and a little more analog yet? Sure. But for what it is, I think in today's date, it is everything that an enthusiast could ask for and more. The question is it a forever car? If it's the last of the line, is it a car that you put in your garage under all costs and you keep it there forever? You know what? I think so.